Hi guys, I have with me today Charity Berrier. Hi Charity.
Hi.
I'm super excited to have Charity with us today. She is just kind of what I consider a powerhouse. Charity owns Restorative Women's Wellness. She earned her Bachelor's of Science in Sports Medicine and is certified in athletic training. She's also licensed in athletic training with the Idaho State Board of Medicine. Her love of continuing to learn about the body, injury prevention, healing, and overall functional integrity led her into massage therapy. Like I said, she does many things. But feeling like she was just still missing a piece, she decided to become a functional nutritional therapy practitioner. Jump right in. Let's just talk about the missing piece. What part did you feel like was missing?
Well, when my clients came in, they would ask me all kinds of questions about muscle soreness or supplements or diets or things that they would see in the news or, the next big thing. And I just didn't have enough information to lead them in a direction that I felt comfortable with. And so I wanted to connect the dots, and when someone was asking me the question, back it up with educational advice. And it really, some of it too was I was struggling with my own issues, hormones and migraines and,
Mm.
turning 40 and not not getting good information from my doctors.
Yeah.
And so shifting gears and focusing on women really did come from me really struggling to
Mm-hmm.
get that same help. And so, I didn't want to go the dietitian route. I didn't want to be a nutritionist. I wanted to have true functional knowledge. And I found that, with the nutritional therapy, and I've loved it ever since.
Yeah, it's just so different than most things that you see out there. I love the bio individual concept is
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, is one of my favorites. For you personally, like you said, you were struggling with some of your own health issues, and I turned 40 this year too, so I can hear you there. Um, what changed for you personally, like after you learned what we learn in
It was
the
probably the
course?
first couple weeks that I was in school and reading about how everything connects at that chemical level,
Yeah.
but everything feeds off of something else. So those chemical processes fascinated me. And the one thing that I got over and over and over again with my doctors were, um, I don't know what else to do for you because you're already doing everything right.
Mm,
I was active and I was quote unquote healthy, and nothing came up on my blood work. Everything was normal. But having 12 to 14 migraines a month was not normal. And I knew something was wrong with that. And the aha moment was realizing that I wasn't eating any fat.
oh wow.
As a product of the 70s and 80s,
Yeah.
of low fat, no fat, fat derivatives, um, fat scared me.
Yeah.
And so my hormones weren't converting, and I was spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month on hormone replacement. And why didn't it work?
Wow.
Because my body couldn't utilize it. And
Right.
that was huge. No one ever asked me about my food. No one ever asked me. And so to have an actual concrete piece of information and say, this is what's going to get you here,
Mm,
that made sense to me. And that's what I get to say to my clients is, These are choices.
Yeah.
These are your choices. You can go from A to B and do a little bit, or we can take you all the way to healing, which no doctors ever give you. They don't tell you that your body can heal.
Right.
So they'd rather just hand you a prescription and send you out the door.
Yeah.
And hope that a month later you feel better.
Yeah, I do see that sometimes in practice, sort of that adopting of the allopathic model, but just using natural compounds. And that for me is part of what is different about what we do, because we plug the foundations into everything.
Yes. Yes.
What do you see is kind of like the first foundation that either needs to be addressed, or maybe the one that is found kind of the least addressed with your clients?
The one thing that I focus on first is hydration. But the most important thing, and it kind of is the true foundation, is nutrient dense whole food diet.
Yeah.
And if people can make choices based on whole foods, then they're going to eliminate some of the other issues and other things happen. Now, people are going to have struggles. They're going to have challenges. So if they can replace one thing every week or every month, I lead them to whole food. Where is your food coming from? And utilize that in your cooking or your baking or your kids' fun stuff. How can you make that change in your fridge, in your pantry, in your portable stuff? It really is something I think that we struggle with as a instant gratification society.
Yes, definitely.
And so I really do focus on that with my clients. But hydration is probably one of the biggest issues, especially with our aging population.
Right. So let's unpack that for just a second. If you can help people understand why being, dehydrated, like all the different ways you can kind of plug that into the things that it affects.
So because I do massage therapy, people come in with pain, discomfort, muscle spasms, joint issues. They immediately, when I touch them, I can tell if they're dehydrated or not.
Oh, wow.
I have specialized in components of the lymphatic system. So the lymphatic system is directly related to how hydrated you are. If you aren't hydrated, it's not going to flush. So your body's just hanging on to those toxins.
Right. But
to be able to explain that to them, the joint movement, the lubrication, our blood flow, you're having muscle spasms because you're not hydrated.
Yeah.
And so to make that connection and then to draw them a picture and say, okay, let's look at this. How much water do you drink a day? Oh, I drink a lot. Okay, give me a number. Oh, 40 ounces. I'm like, okay, sounds good. What is your goal? Half my body weight. Like, okay. So maybe we should be at 60 ounces. Sure. So 40 is not that far.
Right.
How much coffee do you drink?
Ta-da!
Yeah. What do you drink in a day? Soda, juice, coffee, tea, alcohol. So if you can draw a picture, subtract, you're negative. So how do we expect ourselves to do what we're asking them to do when you've depleted them of their vital nutrients.
Right.
It's a game changer.
Yeah.
It really is. And but I've also seen, the aging community, the less hydrated they are, the more issues they have. UTIs, confusion, dizziness, anxiety shows up very prevalent with the older community.
Wow.
And encouraging them to hydrate is not easy because, then I have to get up in the middle of the night. Then I'm like, okay, you're moving, yay. But watching my grandfather, who is almost 96, have anxiety that goes away with 2 glasses of water.
Oh my gosh.
Is huge, huge. And now he knows. He knows that he needs it. It doesn't mean he's eliminating the other stuff.
Sure.
Just increase the good stuff to balance it all out. And really, truly, I think that's kind of my key for all of my clients is about balance.
Yeah.
We're not going to be able to do everything right all the time. 100% is not our goal. Balance. Whatever that means for that day. And so I don't like telling people, no, you can't have that. And that's not my job. But making choices, better choices, is up to them. So hydration is that one. And it can be easy. And for the most part, it can be free. And also save you money on
almost everything.
Yeah.
I love so much how you incorporate the education part of it, because a lot of the times, unless people know, like what am I going to get out of this? Like, why is that change going to impact me? Then they really aren't as motivated to do it.
It doesn't click.
Yeah. And so finding that reason for them, plugging that into their goals, I think is just so smart of you. I just wanted to touch on a second, because you were talking about the lymphatics. This is something I learned through the course, is that our fat absorption occurs through the lymphatic system and not so much the digestive system. And that's when water became important for me, because I was like, okay, if I can't get any of my fats, then this symptom I have and this symptom I have are not going to be alleviated.
Yeah. And so many people, when you talk about the lymphatic system, they've never heard of it, or the first time they hear about it is when you say cancer.
Yeah.
And so educating them about, and I love educating, but if I have someone their undivided attention for an hour, I want to make the most of it. And so to be able to pass on some of the knowledge that I've had or the experiences that I've had and say, this may help you, it starts a conversation. Yeah. And so it doesn't have to be scary. It doesn't have to be daunting. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. But it plants those seeds of, maybe I can do something different when I have that choice. Or maybe not reaching for the soda because they know they're going to have to add another 18 ounces of water to their day.
Yeah.
But making choices based on information and then being able to see results because they feel better. And let me tell you, a 90-year-old man is stubborn.
I imagine so.
But if you can say, listen, give me 1 hour, drink 1 glass of water, give me an hour, you will feel better, I promise. And for him to say, yes, I did, and I almost feel normal, say, okay, 2 more glasses of water in the next 4 hours. That's all you need. No medication, nothing. And, then he'll ask questions. Okay, so is this okay? Or should I do this? Or can I do this? And And that's where their knowledge becomes functional. They're making choices based on that information.
Yeah, those small changes really do have a huge impact. And I very often people will look at, you know, where we are or the level of change that we've made and become panicked or intimidated and think that they've got to do what we do or that they're not doing enough. And that's I love your you know, meet them where they are kind of baby step approach. Or if somebody is ready to go all in, cool. But I didn't get here, you know, overnight either. I mean, my journey from standard American diet to the super clean, mostly organic that I eat now, holy beans. I mean, that took me almost 5 years.
Yeah.
To fully just, you know, because there's everything involved. You know, there's the time and there's the finances, there's the, you know, my family's not used to eating this way, that
Yeah.
there's all of that.
Yeah. And you know, we have our journey. Everyone has a journey, and it's not going to be the same. It is different for many reasons.
Mm.
I'm an empty nester. My kids are gone. I don't even have a pet.
Right.
But my husband doesn't care what I give him as long as it's not Brussels sprouts. And he gets excited when I get excited about a new recipe or something different, or growing an organic garden and tasting that first tomato that tastes like, he calls it tastes like sunshine.
Oh.
And so I have that support, but not everybody does. And so to be able to give people guidance on what works for them, whether it's involving their kids in the meal planning or doing a fun snack with them that they get to be involved in, it doesn't happen every day and it doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
But, you know, encouraging fruit instead of candy.
Yes.
Or changing flour, changing sugar, adding healthy fats to your daily meals. It happens slowly. And I will tell you, one of the biggest things for me with this journey has been having a completely different relationship with food.
Yeah.
Food it used to be something that I was told I was a horrible cook. I was scared of thinking outside the box. If I didn't have a recipe, I wouldn't do it. And now I get to search recipes and change them when I want to, and add things or subtract things or substitute things. It is a completely different mindset when you have a positive relationship with your food. But to be able to say, okay, I have all this stuff, what can I make? And it changes things.
Yeah.
The flavors and the connections that you make with certain herbs or certain vegetables, or wow, you know, I didn't know that I could do this. And to be able to share that with people and bring them something fun. And it's changed my whole outlook on what I can do, because I have people that tell me I'm an amazing cook. And that almost brings me to tears, because
yeah,
that is something that I never made that connection with myself. And so it can be such a scary thing for people.
Mm-hmm.
But if we take one step at a time, you get there. And you know, I'm canning my vegetables. I'm making soups and bone broth and, you know, doing things that I just never saw myself doing.
Mm-hmm.
And encouraging people that, once a week, choose one new recipe. Do something different once a week. And it blossoms from there. Having to make something from scratch that was organic, that I'd never made before for class,
Yeah.
became something so fun. And so I know that wasn't part of the question that you asked me, but it's something that really, really made an impact to me, that it does take us a while to get here.
Yeah, it really does. And I love when you talk about, like that it's just a totally different feeling and your whole mindset shifts, because instead of like this panic of, it's not going to be good enough, are they going to like it, that kind of thing, there brings in a joy and a creativity to it.
Oh, yeah.
I made the mistake for like a really long time, like the nagging of the whatever, oh, we shouldn't eat dot 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 because this is bad for us, and I catch myself, falling back into that mode. But just from like the hubby's point of view, you mentioned that your husband likes to see you be happy, when you're trying a new recipe or doing something like that. And when you approach it from that angle, I'm telling you, something happens. There's the support, if even if you don't fully have that, will kind of show up. If the kids see that, like, you're not stressed around the food, you're excited to make the food, and this is something that you're passionate about, and not only does it make you feel better physically, but you're literally enjoying it on an emotional level, then other people are like, hey, if this is going to help make my mom or my wife or my sister or whoever happy,
Yeah.
there's a whole different layer there.
Yeah. And to be able to function through your day too,
Yeah.
having more energy, having more excitement, having more drive. But for me, was having no more headaches and having the knowledge to say, okay, I need more of that. How am I going to get that into my food? Making my own bone broth, I add as much fat as I want in there. And if people don't like it, they don't have to take it. But for me, it's there, and it's something that that I think people pick up on, that joy and that happiness. But then I love being able to, I have an older client. She's 84. She lives by herself. She's kind of frail, but I love her. She is so sweet. And I get to share some of my leftovers with her because I know she can take them home and she can enjoy them. But it is organic and it is full of good stuff, and she can know that or not, it doesn't matter, but she enjoys it. And I can take food to my grandpa. I can share things with my family, and to then be able to model something different for my daughters. And that, yeah, sometimes cooking is time consuming. So here are some ways that you can do it faster, or, utilize your Instapot or your crock pot or whatever. But for me to be able to share that with them now is amazing. And it's I think it's life-changing. And especially for them, they're younger. They don't have to wait till they're 43 to do it. They can do it now in their 20s. And so it's a whole different world when you can look at it from a perspective of it's literally an onion, and finding what's in those layers is the fun of it. And it doesn't all have to be, this strict diet. I mean, I found a way to make caramel that's healthier. And so we get to enjoy a treat that has honey in it instead of corn syrup. And throw some nuts in there and maybe some dark chocolate. And so showing people that you can enjoy it. And
yeah, I think that's a big misnomer. I mean, really, it's just kind of a stereotype when it comes to, eating healthy, that you have to go without all of these different things. And there are so many options now for healthier replacements. And it does just sort of add that layer to it. It's not just about getting food on the table. It's not just about like, it's a task to do off of my, check this off the list. Oh, I got to make dinner. There's this, for me anyway, it's such a fulfilling thing to create something that is, it's so nourishing. Like you're caring for your family on this totally different level.
yeah.
So it just turns into something different for me anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fun.
Yeah. As long as you can approach it from that space instead of like, my food is wrong, oh, I've got all these things that I have to change because my food is unhealthy, and I'm a bad mom because I'm feeding my family these things. And it's all, you grow in levels. It's like you said with the onion. It doesn't have to be some overnight thing where you throw everything out of your pantry.
And some people choose to do that.
Sure.
That's I've had people do that.
Yeah.
But it is fun to be able to see people grow in those ways and tell me the things that they've done when we meet again, and they get excited over the choices that they've made, and maybe kids are making better choices, and maybe they don't, but celebrating the little victories in that process is so important to me.
You have this ability to really sort of not necessarily just read a person, but like you're so genuine, and you connect with people on a different level. It's not just, you're not just going to go in and be like, well, here's the food part of it, and here's the science part of it, and here's a couple of tools. I think it's really important for people to know when they come to work with you, that just from my personal experience, you're very genuine, you're very authentic. You share with people, the struggles that you have had, so they can feel better about their own journey with it.
And it's hard sometimes. That journey does have bumps, and you do have things that get in the way, and acknowledging that, I joke about it, I'm a recovering perfectionist, and it's not always going to look like the way you want it to. Right. But how do you use that? And so I found that I have to let go of some of my mindset, my ideals, and listen to what their desires are and what their challenges are, and meet them there, and maybe push just a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm the cheerleader in the corner, but I'm here when you need support. And so, even just talking to someone today, she's giving her kids a Flintstone vitamin, which is awesome. But, when those are all gone, what choice can we make that can maybe eliminate some of those dyes and some of the sugar in there?
Right.
And still help them boost their immune system, and still be something that they're willing to do every day. Let's look at that over the course of the next couple weeks. And, something that's maybe a little bit more along the lines of that whole food idea. Some doctors look at the body as bits and pieces. We look at the body as a whole. and how are we going to make that whole work better together? And it's not just food. Sometimes it's stress. Sometimes it's making sure that you're giving yourself some time to do the things that you need to do. And so putting all those pieces together, it takes time.
You have that missing piece that I think that other people are looking for, because it's like their body, and it becomes almost adversarial because it is such a puzzle, and they're looking for that insight, and they don't really know, direction wise where to go. So that is definitely a good quality in a practitioner, to be like, let's look at these pieces. Let's see what we can do to make these fit together, instead of, what do you tell clients that feel like they don't have a say or an effect on their own health?
We can make choices that directly affect us. Mm-hmm. I'm not here to tell a doctor that they're wrong. I'm not here to tell you that you need to go off a medication.
Yeah.
I will give you the information that I have and some resources that you can look at yourself. But if your doctor doesn't allow you to have a say in your care, maybe you need to find somebody else. But I am very open to working directly with those doctors. I have clients that are on medications that they can't go off of. That's not an option. So how do we work together to get to a better outcome? And how do we get to that outcome with the least disruption in what you're doing now? And so when a doctor understands that I'm not here to fight them, I'm here to help, they're very receptive to it. And especially when their patients are getting optimal benefits out of the medications that they're currently taking.
Yeah.
So you help the body utilize what they're already doing. That's the first thing. When they have a family member or, people that are telling them that what they're doing is ridiculous and they shouldn't be doing it, or maybe they don't have the money, their spouse won't give them the money to make those choices.
Yeah.
That's a little bit harder, because, they can make some choices for their children.
Right.
But it's a little bit more difficult when you don't have the support of your significant other.
Mm-hmm.
So I give as much educational information that I can. I give resources. I help encourage. If they have questions, I'll email them or I will text them so that they can share it with them. But I think the best thing that's helped is I say, give me 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Let me see if I can help you significantly in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Feel better, so that you can go to them and say, this is what I need to do for me. And I don't need you to be completely on board. I don't need you to do what I want to do. I just need your support in this venture for me. And so far it's been pretty effective, especially when they're cooking differently or maybe asking for input, what would you like? And then they understand that you're not trying to eliminate them or alienate them. You're trying to bring them on board. And I just haven't really experienced too many people that have had that resistance. And so maybe I'm lucky in that way, but maybe the clients that I work on are just, they're just better at being able to ask for what they need.
Yeah, it really depends on the space that people are in. And most of the time, what I see in my practice is it's too expensive, it's too much work, or my family won't like it. Those are kind of the 3 things that I run into. And so, it's just like you said, the small changes, and especially if the person who, and this is not true in every family, it just, in most families, the mom is the one who does the bulk of the cooking. And so if you can get, mom feeling better and happier, more confident, more empowered about what's going on there, those changes cannot help but trickle into the family and other aspects. And then you kind of get people more on board.
Well, and sometimes it does happen slowly, and that's fine. But when you can say, okay, well, this can help support my immune system, so I'm not going to be as sick, or our kids can be supported this way, and so they're not going to struggle. We're not going to have to go to the doctor. We're not going to have these things happen, whether it's missing work or buying the things that you need when you're sick. And so to be able to balance that all out is really, it's something that actually happens, and you can visibly see it, and people get excited about how they feel, and they're no longer complaining. So the spouse picks up on that. My clients know I'm there to support them in whatever direction they have to go. And if it means reading labels and realizing that there's corn syrup in just about everything processed, or being able to just make better decisions. And if your husband wants steak, how can you make that steak better? Yeah, how can you make
it? So if someone wants to come see you, how do they find you?
I am on Facebook, and just search for Restorative Women's Wellness. Obviously, by the name, I only take women clients. Right. And my phone number, my address, everything is on there.
Yeah. Right. But just so appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. Like I said before, you are a person who is just super down to earth and willing to walk your talk and work on your own stuff while you're walking people through that journey. And I think it's special, and it's really valuable, especially in the space of making a change, this large and over this period of time. Yeah. And I'm just super appreciative that you took the time to talk with me today. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. I enjoyed it. I appreciate you thinking of me.